Number 1. The human digestive system is approximately 900 centimeters long. Food is moved through the digestive tract primarily by A. Bile production by the pancreas. B. Enzymes amylase and pepsin. C. Muscular contractions. D. Hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Number 2. The nerve cell shown below has branches to allow communication between the cells of this system. Based on the levels of organization, which of the following lists is ordered correctly from simple to complex? A. Nerve cell, nervous tissue, brain, nervous system. B. Muscle tissue, nerve cell, muscular system, muscle. C. Epidermis, integumentary system, nerve cell, epidermal tissue. D. Brain, nervous tissue, nerve cell, nervous system. Number 3. Cold sores are caused by the herpes simplex virus, type 1. A company that wants to develop antiviral drugs would ask a research immunologist to study A. The mechanism used by the virus to infect cells. B. The antibiotic effects on an organism. C. The metabolism of the virus. D. The ribosomes and mitochondria inside a virus. Number 4. The diagram below shows one of the processes that occurs in vertebrates. According to this information, which two body systems work together during this process? A. Skeletal and respiratory systems. B. Circulatory and excretory systems. C. Respiratory and circulatory systems. D. Skeletal and excretory systems. Number 5. Which of the following mammalian body systems work together to regulate internal body temperature? A. Excretory and integumentary. B. Endocrine and lymphatic. C. Excretory and immune. D. Muscular and skeletal. Number 6. Which of the following correctly describes an interaction that occurs between two body systems of a rabbit that helps the rabbit outrun a pursuing coyote? A. The skeletal system releases additional calcium, and the circulatory system retains more sodium in the blood to provide muscles with ions for contraction. B. The digestive system increases the rate of digestion, and the excretory system ceases to provide tissues with more nutrients. C. The respiratory system increases the breathing rate, and the circulatory system increases the blood pressure to provide tissues with more oxygen. D. The endocrine system releases hormones that prepare the immune system to deal with possible injuries. Number 7. Use your knowledge of science and the diagram below to answer the question. Low levels of glucose in the blood will cause the pancreas to A. Release more insulin through beta cells. B. Decrease the amount of digestive enzymes produced. C. Release glucagon, which will signal the release of glucose. D. Absorb more glucose through fat cell. Number 8. During the final stages of human gestation, receptors for the hormone oxytocin increase in the smooth muscle cells of the uterus. The release of oxytocin during labor stimulates the smooth muscle of the walls of the uterus. The vigorous contraction of the uterine smooth muscle helps push the baby through the birth canal so that the delivery can occur. This process involves the interaction of which organ systems? A. Endocrine and muscular only. B. Endocrine and reproductive only. C. Endocrine, muscular, and reproductive. D. Endocrine, reproductive, and excretory. Number 9. Which sequence of organization represents the order from least complex to most complex? A. Mitochondria, cell, stomach, muscle tissue, digestive system. B. Digestive system, stomach, muscle tissue, cell, mitochondria. C. Cell, mitochondria, stomach, muscle tissue, digestive system. D. Mitochondria, cell, muscle tissue, stomach, digestive system. Number 10. People sweat to help maintain body temperature. Which of the following best describes how the temperature is regulated in the body? A. Body temperature rises, shivering increases body temperature. B. Body temperature rises, shivering decreases body temperature. C. Body temperature rises, sweating increases body temperature. D. Body temperature rises, sweating decreases body temperature. Number 11. Certain bacteria in the intestinal tract of other organisms. Number 11. Certain bacteria live in the intestinal tract of other organisms. Which of the following statements describes how these microorganisms help maintain the health of their other organisms? A. They produce antibiotics which destroy other microorganisms. B. They metabolize substances and break down the food during digestion. C. They decrease the amount of vitamins in the large intestine. D. They purify food as it travels through the digestive system and removes contaminants. Number 12. Healthcare workers are exposed to many different types of pathogenic and non-pathogenic microorganisms. Which body system works together to protect the body from pathogens? A. Muscular and vascular. B. Digestive and excretory. C. Circulatory and immune. D. Endocrine and reproductive. Number 13. A pea-sized gland at the base of a dog's brain called the pituitary gland makes a hormone called ACTH. ACTH signals the adrenal glands to secrete cortisol. Cortisol is another hormone that regulates things like body weight, tissue structure, and skin health. When cortisol hormones are low, the pituitary gland secretes ACTH. And when cortisone levels are high, the pituitary gland stops secreting ACTH. Based on the information above, which would most likely cause elevated levels of cortisone in a dog? A. Undersized adrenal glands. B. An excess of ACTH. C. An inactive pituitary gland. D. An immune response to the excess level of cortisol. Number 14. Which two body systems must directly interact for vertebrae, backbone, organisms to exchange gases? A. Skeletal system and muscular system. B. Excretory system and reproductive system. C. Circulatory system and respiratory system. D. Digestive system and immune system. Number 15. A student studying interactions between body systems constructs a table below. The student plans to fill out the table with phrases that describe the interactions between pairs of systems. Which of these phrases would be placed in the position marked with an X? A. Provides nutrients to kidney cells. B. Provides nutrients to brain cells. C. Provides nutrients to nerve cells. D. Provides nutrients to muscle cells. Number 16. The female reproductive and endocrine system work interactively for which main purpose? A. To maintain homeostasis by removing waste products from the body. B. To release neurotransmitters during times of stress. C. To control hormone levels to prepare the body for pregnancy. D. To exchange gases to support cellular aerobic respiration. Number 17. The process of demyelination, the liver converts amino acids to compounds that can be used in energy metabolism. The liver removes the amino acid groups from the amino acids to produce urea. The urea is removed from the body as urine. During this process, the liver works in conjunction with which body systems? Endocrine, A. B. Excretory. C. Nervous. D. Respiratory. Number 18. Which of the following functions as the same organizational level as a kidney in the human excretory system? A. Skeleton. B. Epithelial tissue. C. Urinary bladder. D. A squamous cell. Number 19. When a person is suddenly cut by a sharp object, a nervous impulse is sent along a sensory neuron to the spinal cord. The impulse is immediately transmitted through motor neurons to produce a response. Which of the following correctly identifies and describes this response? A. It is a conditioned response that occurs only to prevent injury. B. It is a learned response that does not occur in infants and small children. C. It is a reflex response that causes various muscles to contract in order to move away from the object. D. It is a voluntary response that is initiated only after the impulse has been carried to the relevant area of the brain. Number 20. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, is an illness caused by a coronavirus. Symptoms including high fever, headaches, and body aches typically occur 2 to 7 days after infection of the virus. SARS is more serious in elderly patients. This information suggests that the reproductive cycle of the SARS virus is A. Lysogenic because the virus is a coronavirus. B. Lytic because the virus causes respiratory illness. C. Lysogenic because the virus primarily affects older people. D. Lytic because of the quick onset of symptoms after infection.